请大家及时就座，我们的课程马上即将开始。
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back.
大家下午好，欢迎回来。
My name is Victoria.
我的名字是白雪。
So we're happy that you're coming back and you're making our work easier and you are on time and we are going to be on time because we have a very interesting and special class today.
很高兴大家都能够及时的回来，这让我们的工作更加的容易，因为接下来我们要进行非常非常重要的课程。
This is the Bridge of the Diamond Way, Course 6, and we are on a catch-up class.
我们接下来的这堂课呢，将是我们的金刚道之桥的复习课。
And today, as I said, we have a very special teaching.
今天我们会有一个非常特别的教授。
With a very great, amazing practitioner and teacher.
我们有一位非常非常深度的练习者，以及非常厉害的老师来为我们进行教授。
And of course, we welcome all our participants online. Hi, everyone.
同时也欢迎我们线上的伙伴，欢迎。
We hope you like what we're going here, what we're doing here.
希望大家能够喜欢我们现在进展的一切的课程。
So this special teacher who is coming up on stage very soon, let me tell small things about him. Maybe you will guess, but I'm sure you all know him. So he's a master degree of Pennsylvania University.
接下来这位老师，我们会先说一下他的一些经历和特征，可能大家已经猜到了，但是希望大家可以去尝试猜测一下。那这位老师呢，他是宾夕法尼亚大学的硕士，是一位学霸。
He's also managing director of Red Capital Education and Travel.
那他同时也是Red Capital 这家公司的董事总经理。
He's also a Tibetan translator for Diamond Classics.
同时也是能断金刚经典翻译当中的一员。
And of course, maybe you not recognize the teacher whom we are talking about.
那么现在大家知道我们在说哪一位老师吗？
The last thing, he is executive director of Asian Classical Institute.
他是我们 ACI 课程的总监。
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tim Law.
Sorry, I had lost my voice for a second. All right. Thank you all very much. I'm very honored to be teaching today. We've been preparing for the entrance to the Diamond Way for over a year and a half. I have translators online, right? Thank you. Please yell at me if I speak too fast. And in that preparation, Geshe-la has been going through the Song of My Spiritual Life. And I had the beautiful opportunity about a week and a half ago. Promise was there and several other students in Japan. And we got an opportunity to teach all of it. Brian Mendoza was teaching, Alfonso Arzapalo was teaching as well. And I got to see the beauty of this course. Everything that Geshe-la has done for us, everything that he put together, it didn't feel like a full course to me until I taught it. And I saw the thread from the beginning up until now. And there's an incredible thread through all of it that really is a true preparation for Diamond Way. And so somehow, I get the opportunity to teach you today about Randawa's 16 steps to a good life, which came from, so basically it was a side story in the original course. And where we are in that Lam Rim, where we are in the steps of the path, is we're in a section about leisure and fortune. It feels so weird not to have a translator. Is there a way we can turn down the lights just a hair? Because I can't see everybody. Like I can only see, I mean, I love looking at Nancy and Sugan, but I can't see all the people. You can't see me, all right. But where we are in the Lam Rim is when we recognize the life that we've been given, when we recognize that the fortune that we have to have been born as a human, and then what do we do with that? And there's this kind of balance, right? Like, yeah, I got to be here, but then to also recognize how easily we can waste it, how easily we can just get comfortable, and then forget about like what's really coming next. Like, are we really preparing ourselves for what is coming next? And so this part of the Lam Rim is can be a little depressing, a bit. You know, I thought about this the other day. Geshe-la mentioned it in the first class. He mentioned about that when you, was it Geshe-la? No, it was Nick. When Nick was talking about, he made a list of like 5 of his best friends that kept dying, right? You know, and there was a similar thread through all of it. And I'm sitting in the back of the room and I'm like, my heart is like I just wanted to run up on stage and give him a hug. I'm like, oh my God, Nick, I didn't know. I didn't know you had such grief, years and years of it, right? And then he himself also had an accident too. And then you see that like who he became, like because of the realization of what this could be, right? And what a beautiful practitioner, what a beautiful father, a beautiful husband, right? And an amazing translator. Like, I feel that he landed in his renunciation and was like, all right, I'm gonna do something about this. And each time we have, like every time we have a death, we have this opportunity to remind ourselves, oh shit, it's coming. Like, it's coming for me. It could be coming for my loved ones. When, right? And then what normally happens? Over time, that feeling fades. And then we start going back into, I don't know, denial, I guess, right? But the part of the Lam Rim we're at right now is specifically about how do we keep pushing ourselves through that? How do we grasp on, how do we take advantage of the leisure and fortune that we have? And so where we go with this is Randawa, the teacher of Tsongkhapa, there's 16 steps to leading a good life. Like, how did he live his life? And I think it's a great question for us to go through all of those. And then think about, how does this apply to me? So my question for you is, as you're listening, and anytime you're listening to Lam Rim, Steps on the Path, you should be thinking, how is this relevant to me now? Like, what is going on in my life right now or did go on or will go on, right? You know, you shouldn't be sitting there passively just taking notes. I mean, you can take notes if you want. But how is it resonating in your heart? Okay? So we're going to go through Rendawa's 16 steps. All right. So the first, here's the book. It's one of my favorite new books that was published by Geshe Michael this year. It's called Light for a Friend. It's a commentary on Arya Nagarjuna's letter to a king, first letter to a king. Get the book. This one sits by my nightstand. I'm planning on making a whole course out of this. First slide, please. So one of the cool things about the Song of My Spiritual Life is that we're getting a very personal revelation, a very personal story from Jason Kappa himself. And he's saying, this is how I practiced. So Jason Kappa is saying, like, and everywhere else he's writing books, he's writing commentaries, he's writing on the philosophy. But this is the first time you get this personal feel to it, where he says, me, this is what I did. Right? And I think this is, if you want to memorize something, this is a great verse to memorize. And he says, I, the deep practitioner, have accomplished my practice this way. And you who hope for freedom should practice the same. And so he kind of comes out of it's like coming out of the closet, basically, in a way. And he just says, this is what I did. And so it becomes a very personal presentation. And I was reflecting on this when Brian and I were teaching a couple weeks ago. And it dawned on me that this is what Geshe is doing for us right now. That he's offering us the Arya's Diamond Way, which is, I, the deep practitioner, have accomplished my practice this way. This is Geshe Michael talking. This is what he's doing. He's talking to us. And he's telling us, this is how I did it. This is how I saw emptiness directly. And I hope that you will follow along with that as well. And so I've been humbled as I've been listening more and more to his teachings lately. Right? And I've just been like, all right, let's be a student again. Right? Let's sit at the feet of the teacher and listen to what they have to say. Like, what are they offering us? Like, and he's offering us his personal practice, just like Jason Kappa did. It is probably not a coincidence. Oh, I love this photographer. I love Daliana. I could like put him in a little suitcase and take him with me. Except he's bigger than a suitcase. But in a very special way. And I think if you're thinking of, and as you've been hearing the classes from yesterday, and if many of you have gone through the preparation so far, when we see these kinds of things, is it a coincidence that Geshe Michael taught us Song of My Spiritual Life, where Jason Kappa says, hey, this is what I did, and you should do it too. And then, as he's finishing this, our own teacher is saying the same thing. Is it just a coincidence? What do you think? You're all kind of standing there like, I know it's late in the afternoon, you're tired. When you're engaging with these types of practices, when something comes up like this, you start asking yourself, well, why am I experiencing this? How many flowers are there? There's 4 flowers, right? The same seed seems to be ripening in various places. So is it a coincidence? Could it be something even bigger? Could it be something even more divine? Something else that's in play that I'm just not quite aware yet, but my seeds are kind of tossing out there, right? There could be something really special in this. But you, as practitioners, it's your job to see what's special in it for you. Like, I'm just sharing what's special in it for me. Hi, it's good to see you. But at the end of the day, it's like, when you're listening to these 16, is there something that goes off in your mind and you're like, ooh, that's a special message for me. That was a special message sent to me, a divine special message sent to me from years ago, centuries ago, or from all the things that you did just to get yourself here. Think about all the choices that you made that put you in this seat right now. Is it an accident that you're sitting here in this room? No, I mean, just on a normal level, there's all these causes and conditions that brought you here. But is it an accident that you're here and you're hearing about, is it an accident that you're here and that you're hearing about Diamond Way here right now? Is it an accident that you're in this room and not in the room with Rob or the room with Anatole? Everyone is where they're supposed to be. And I know you're all have this, we call it FOMO in English, fear of missing out. You could be missing the cool class Rob is giving because he's very funny. You could be missing the cool class that Anatole is giving because he's extraordinarily divine. But you're here right now and you're stuck with me, I'm sorry. So that's your fault. All right, next slide, Brian. Okay, so the first step is that Jetsun Randhawa orchestrated his birth, which means that he chose when and where and how to come, okay? And you often hear these stories from these high teachers, that they were sitting in some paradise, like having, I don't know, relaxed conversation. I'm like, what am I going to do now? Who am I going to help now? What family am I going to be with? How am I going to do this so I can help the most people on planet Earth? Right? And so he chose the life that he was in. Which then begs the question, who was he before he was here? Right? How many of you chose this life? Oh, we got one person in the back waving their hand. Excellent. Maybe she was telling me to slow down. But so we have one special soul in the back. She's wearing a green shirt just in case if you want to talk to her. She probably has some secret message for you. But I personally have no recollection of where I was before or what brought me here. I can only do the logic to say, well, I must have planted some good seeds to be as a human, but certain things work, certain things don't. I can kind of reconstruct the seeds that had been planted, right? But I certainly didn't choose this life consciously. At least I don't remember, But they say that he did, right? And then you got to look at this from a shifted point of view. Right? What if you could, think about your own life. What if you could think that? What if you did choose this life? What if you did choose your family? What if you did choose your country? What if you did choose the circumstances you were born into? And maybe there's a special message to that for you. Like, why did you have that parent? Why did they do that thing to you, right? Why did they say that weird thing to you when you were 10 years old that you remember and carried with you for 40 years and pulled out in therapy? And then they don't even remember it, right? Why? Like, why? Maybe there's a special plan behind all of it. In making that shift, I don't know, what would happen if you made that shift to think about your past that way? Geshe-la talked about it this morning, right? What would happen if you made that shift? I don't know. All right, next slide. How Rendawa used his childhood. Someone gave me this hat the other day. Can anyone explain why I have this hat? Why? Because when you look in the mirror, it says Tim. Get it? It says MIT. It's a college in Boston, right? But when you look in the mirror, it says Tim. Get it? But so how did Rendawa use his childhood? Like, did he use it well? Right? I found this picture and I kind of imagined it was me. Right? You know, again, it was just a random picture that showed up, right? You know, as a young boy, he had great joy. You know, every time he heard the Buddha's name spoken, he just had this natural reverence. Every time he saw something sacred or spiritual or a temple, it just brought him this amazing joy. So thinking about this from a perspective, there was a seed that this little boy had, right? And that ripened every time he saw or heard the name of his teacher. He just had this natural reverence, right? Now think about it for yourself. Think about your own childhood. Did you have any weird seeds? Like, did you have any kind of like, why am I attracted to that? There's a special symbol in Diamond Way that I found when I was 16, and it was on a necklace. I didn't know what it was at the time. And I bought it, and I was just like, oh my God, I need this. And I put it on and I wore it, but I always wore it privately. I was like, nobody can see this, right? And I had no idea why. You know, and I was always hiding. I was like this, but it felt sacred to me. You know, then I found out years later what it meant, right? And somehow it disappeared. It disappeared as well. Like, it kind of came into my life at a perfect time and then it vanished, right? But think about your own childhood. Did you have things that just naturally brought you joy? That might have been, let's use the flavor spiritual, like that you had natural attraction to things. When somebody whispered the words Lam Rim in my ear, it was Will Mead, if anybody knows him. I was doing my yoga teacher training in 2009. He was like, 2010. He was like, Tim, you should go to Phoenix. I'm like, why? He goes, they're doing this program. Geshe Michael's teaching it. I'm like, oh, okay. And he goes, it's called Lam Rim. And I was like, you know, like the prana moved in my body, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I mean, I'm just acting right now, but that's what it felt like, right? Some weird seed. I'm naturally attracted to Lam Rim teachings. Why? I'd never heard that word in my life, right? But he used his childhood was already, he was using it well. And so the cool thing is, think about, like, what did you do well in your childhood? Like, Did your childhood bring you here today? Probably. Next slide. So as Rendal was getting older, he just looked around and he realized, like, look, I can't do the normal life. I can't do the normal relationships. I can't do the marriage thing and the kids thing and the work thing and all that normal stuff. And so he decided to enter the monastery early on. And this picture is a almost famous 18-year-old Jedi Padawan, if anyone cares. Same idea, like entered into the order at 18. Okay. He just had that, well, everyone else, the way they talk about it is like, well, everyone else was having fun and games. He was like, no, I think I have to save the world. I have to do something different. It doesn't mean, of course, that you can't have a very successful spiritual career if you have a marriage, kids, and work. That's not what that means, right? But he was so drawn to that, right? And then you can think to yourself, well, why was I drawn to certain things, certain careers? Like, what brought me, like, why did I do certain things? And you can start looking for the messages in that, all right? Number 4, next slide. You need toothpaste for your toothbrush. So one of the things that Rendawa did is that he, not only did he enter as a monk, he also kept his vows and commitments very, very well. He understood something very powerful. He understood that the way to achieve the freedom that he was searching for, which apparently he already had, but came back to live the life to show us how to do it, was to keep those vows. And what are vows? Right? I don't like calling it that way. I'm probably am going to be smacked for it, but I just like calling them, if you want something, do this. And if you want something and don't do this and you do something else, then you're not going to get it. They're just correlations. If you really want freedom and you really can, if you want to see emptiness directly, for example, you might have to take up certain things and certain activities and certain seeds and plant certain seeds. And you're probably going to have to stop doing some other things. And so he kept those good seed, it's like good seed guidance. Here's a list of things to do, things not to do, right? It just depends on what you want. Right, and so this is a screenshot from our new 5 Houses app, which is going to be released very soon, which will have... it also has a meditation timer in it, it has a map in it, it's pretty cool. But if you want to get there, there's a roadmap. And he followed it, right? He did his monk's vows. He did his bodhisattva vows, and he also did his diamond way vows as well, right? But see them as the roadmap, correlations. If you want X, you do Y, And the hard part about it, and I'll just say from my own practice, is recognizing all the things that I do that are actually planting seeds to go against what my actual goals are. So my book practice, I do the 6 times book, but a lot of times I have my goals and I write down, did I do something today that helped my goal, Or did I do something today that did not help it? And then if I'm really honest with myself, you have to be honest, and no one else looks at it anyway. I'm like, nope, I did that thing again that's stopping me from getting to where I want to go. That nasty little thought, that nasty little holding on to myself. And that's why I surround myself with good people to remind me. I had a beautiful conversation today with my great friend, Nancy. And she was helping me with a couple of things, and she just points out, she said, well, you know, if you did this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And she's like, and I'm thinking, I'm just being selfish. I am not being inclusive enough. My pride is, okay. And that's why you need friends. Friends who can support you and hold you and allow you to be you. Like, we're practitioners. We're not, if we were already perfect, we wouldn't be sitting here, okay? So just give it up. I'm not perfect at all, you know? But the idea is, can we get better? And we need people to point out to us the places that are like, you know, there's a little bit of pride over here, Tim, or over here, or over here. You know, maybe you can soften that a little bit. And most of the time, it's just like, it's not even pride, it's fear. It's a fear of like losing something, or a fear of, I don't know, fear of ... You know, and that's why I try to find friends who can support me when I'm not as strong as I pretend that I am, right? And then they can help elevate and help me grow. So thank you, Nancy. Next slide. What did Rendawa learn? Well, he studied the 5 great books of Buddhism. And what's really cool is the story is that Gesongkhapa, Rendawa is Gesongkhapa's teacher. But at a certain point, Rendawa was like, I'm your student now. Like, it's shifted. And then it had this very beautiful teacher-student relationship where they were both to each other, where Tsongkhapa was like, no, you're my teacher, and Rendawa was like, no, you need to teach me emptiness. Like, you know, they're having like prostration contests, you know, honoring each other. But what came out of that beautiful teacher-student, student-teacher relationship is what we have is now the Geshe course, the 25-year Geshe course. The order in which these 5 great books are taught come directly from this beautiful relationship. You know, and the more that you study all this, you know, we talked about 5 houses this morning and like becoming a master in 5 years. Yeah. It's just a selling point. Marketing is really good. You know, but it takes years, it takes time, and it's not just study, it's living, right? It's integrating. It's taking the time to look at yourself and be like, well, why did I learn all these things? Like, what are they teaching me? You know? But 5 years is, I think, a good enough time to create teachers. You know, and I'm super excited. All right, next, step 6. Next slide. It should not be a black slide. Okay. Yeah, these are my exercise cords that I travel with. Okay. All right, so the next slide is not that one, but it'll pop up in a second. It's a picture of an excavating machine, like digging a hole in the ground. And so the idea is that how did Randawa unearth the true intent? And historically, what was happening in the Tibetan region at that time is that the teachings on emptiness had degenerated. People were not teaching it correctly. They were thinking that emptiness was one thing when it was something else. And there's 3 specific wrong ideas, and we learned about them yesterday. What's the first one? Black, black, black. Emptiness is just the void. Right? Secondly, what's the next wrong idea? It's a little bit more specific. I can't hear you, so I'm just going to say it. It's that things are not, because everything's an illusion, it doesn't matter. Okay? And then a correlation to that is because nothing matters. There's no reason for karma and its consequences. So you can do whatever you want, right? Which is not correct at all. And so Randawa excavated all of the old ideas, Nagarjuna, Chandakirti, right? Pulled them all out and resuscitated the correct teachings on emptiness. And then with his beautiful relationship with Tsongkhapa, then Tsongkhapa became the greatest commentator on emptiness ever, and Geshe just published, or is publishing, there it is, The Illumination of the True Thought. It is a beast. Try it out sometime, right? But they together brought out the accurate teachings. Now I want to ask you a question to think about this from the point of view of your teacher, right? Think about what happened in that relationship, right? What they did together. And what were they able to do together as student and teacher with such a close relationship? You know, maybe there's something cool that you can do with your teacher. There's probably a reason why Geshe Michael has 41 organizations, right? He gives directorships to everybody. Okay. All right, next slide. I also have Q-tips because I got to clean my ears. Okay. All right, so after they unearthed the true intent, is that Randawa gained the perfect view of reality, right? He saw emptiness directly. That's what they say, right? And so, make sure I got my notes right here. What's interesting, in the biography of these 16 steps, this is the only mention of him having seen emptiness directly in all of the biographies, right? And I want to give you guys a little taste of this. What did we say yesterday? How frequent, maybe was it yesterday or was it a DCI? I don't remember. How often does an Arya appear in the world normally? Was that here? If it wasn't here, it's every 500 years, right? Ish, more or less, okay? In the open teachings. In the open teachings. Okay, hi. Did you hear? So there might be something in here that you might want to think about. Okay. I'm going to let you just hold on to that idea. Just plant that seed. I'm going to throw those seeds into you. And you're just going to let that land inside. And you can think about it. Next step, next one. I need my deodorant. Okay. So the next thing that Randawa did is he composed enormous quantities of work, over 80 works. letters, commentaries. It's incredible what he's done, what he did. He also wrote a commentary on my book, which I didn't know about until this morning, on the Jewel of Realizations. And I'm kind of like, ooh, I can't wait till my Tibetan is good enough to read that. You know, because strangely, I don't know why I have an attraction to Rendawa. I'm not really sure why, but as I said, like, this book stays with me. Like, I read it quite often. We keep saying it is a great intro to Buddhism. You know, it's a great intro course. It is leveled and layered, like intro, but you can get so much out of it. All right. So he wrote a bunch. Okay. So these are the steps of his life. Saw emptiness directly. Then all of a sudden he writes a lot of things for people. Why? Maybe in the modern world, we won't write books when we see emptiness directly. Maybe we'll make TikTok videos. You know, maybe we'll make YouTube videos. I don't know. Like, if you saw emptiness, think about it. If you saw emptiness directly, how would you share that after you habituated to it and figured out how you were going to teach it? Geshe-la said 50 years for him. But how would you teach it to the modern world? And maybe that's something we can think about in the 5 houses. What if we imagined that we don't have any other choice but to share these ideas? And how should we share them? How should we get them out there? That's what this is about. I'm sorry, but Rendawa, you didn't have TikTok. You know, but he had books. He could write them, right? Preserve it for the future. Next slide. Don't leave without your massager. This is a full body massager. You can do it anywhere. So how did Rendawa, this is how he gathered disciples. And he used the 4 magnets. If you learned this from DCI, it's the 4 ways to attract students. Right, so after he did all this, he's like, well, shit, I got to teach people. How do I get people to come to my class? Thank you, Jasmine. That's how I get people to come to my class. I asked Jasmine to organize an event. And then I just get to show up. Well, that's not really how it works at all. So there's 4 ways to attract a student. And you can think about this. Like, if you want to attract a following, first of all, just do your practice. Keep your ethics. Like, be a good person. Don't try to attract people because you want followers or because you want people to make offerings to you. All of those things. Like, that's never going to work in the long term. But the first thing is you be generous, right? I forgot my money, but, you know, like, Geshe Michael gave away $1,000 at the end of class. I hope you remember that moment because that was a very profound moment. It wasn't just about the money, right? It was about what was being taught, right? Like, the layers of that teaching were extraordinary this morning. And through generosity, he's teaching. Like, you know, like, for $1,000, I don't have $1,000 right now, I'm sorry. Right? You see, be generous with your students. Give them time, give them the space. Right? What else? What's the second one? I forget. Not very good at this. Oh, I'm not very good at number 2. Praise your students. Praise your students lavishly when they do a good job. Right? Be generous with kindness and telling them they've done a good job. Thirdly, then you teach to fit their capacity. I have a student who gets upset because I teach them differently than I teach the other students. And it's because everybody needs something different, right? You know, everyone, you teach to their level, you teach what they need, right? So be generous, overly praise them. I'm working on this one. I'm sorry, guys. I'm working to be better at this. What's this? Wow. All right. So you praise them. Well, excuse me, you be generous. Then you praise them. And then you teach to their capacity. And for $100, that you yourself better be a practitioner. You should practice what you teach. Because if you're not practicing, you know, look, every problem that your student has, where is it coming from? Yeah, it's them, right? It's their fault. No. Duh, you created them. So every time you have an annoying student, whose fault is it? It's your fault, right? You gotta get some laughs here, right? So, you know, practice what you teach. All right, step 10. How did Randhawa treasure his personal practices? I need jeans. Okay. He had 2 personal practices that he treasured. Okay. The first practice was understanding emptiness. And then the second practice he treasured even more than that was his Diamond Way practice, which you're about to enter into. Okay. And there's 3 things to it, and I want to make sure I have it correct so I don't miss it. Is that the first step is to seek to be aware of the divine nature of people and places around you. Is this a normal room or is this an extraordinary room? God, I hope it's extraordinary, okay? Like, is it a room in Malaysia with a bunch of, do I have like all these eyeballs looking at me? Or is this a room of angels who are just like, go Tim, you're almost there, you're almost there. Still got a little bit more to do. They're gonna work in that pride a little bit. So we'll put you up on stage so you can think that you're awesome, right? Go Tim, right? Thanks, I appreciate the support, right? So then when I'm watching all this, do I just take it as normal or do I take it as extraordinary, right? So you start looking, I don't know which way it is. I don't know, right? But if I suspect it, just suspect it, maybe it could be completely divine, right? Second step is that then you embody it yourself. Because you go, what in this room? So when we talk about emptiness, like point to something in this room that's not coming from you. All right, everyone pick up your left hand. We're going to do it. Point to something in this room that's not coming from you. Oh, very good. Now let's do it again. Point to something in the room that is not already divine. Possibly. And you all should land back at yourself. Because you also have an emptiness. You have the capacity. Different seeds, different view of self. right? When we talk about pen, thank you. Oh, it's a red pen. That's surprising. Not at all. It's a Five Houses red pen. That's even cooler. Ooh. Anyhow, so why is this a pen? Because you as a human, thank you, I got it. Because you are who you are, this is a pen. What makes this a chew toy? Because they is a dog. They are a dog because they see chew toy. You are a human because you see pen. Okay? Do the same, that's gonna hurt. Do the same logic on yourself. You are you because, and that you is what? Did you think you didn't have emptiness? Nice, sorry about that. The parts that you're looking at yourself, the parts that are you, the parts that make you you, are they self-existent? And the you who is, you think that you are, who is that really? Sit with that for a little bit. Next slide. Step 11 is that, oh, I forgot to take something out of my suitcase. I need my wrinkled linen shirt. Someone offered to iron my linen shirt for me, and I was like, it's linen. It'll stay ironed for 5 minutes. Like, this is samsara, right? Ironed linen is samsara. Okay. So the thing is, so his personal practice was emptiness, seeing the divinity in others, seeing it in himself, and that leads you to equal sign, serving others. Your daily practice is taking care of others. When you understand all of that, equals taking care of others. And it takes a while to integrate the why. Why would I have to take care of you? I don't have a choice, right? If I do the logic long enough, right? Why do I do what I do? It's a little selfish. I want to get out. I want you to get out. I don't want this. When my cat died 2 months ago, it was losing my best friend. Shintian's mother just died. Nick lost 5 friends. I mean, I bet you every single one of you has a story. Like, God, let's end this. And so Jetson Randhawa said, be like a rhinoceros. That's a weird thing. Because rhinoceroses tend to live alone. They will just do rhinoceros things by themselves. Be like the rhinoceros. Even if nobody helps you, you will still take care of other people. When everyone else has gone home for the evening, you're still here cleaning up, right? Be like the rhinoceros. It's kind of cool. All right, we're going to actually get this done. I've never actually finished a class on time. Step 12. Randhawa went into retreat. I need my cologne. So after he did all that, he was like, you know what? I need to go into retreat. I need to work out all of these things because the things in the cycle of pain are drawing me towards it, and it's taking me away from what truly matters. This is at Diamond Mountain, by the way. This is Cottage 27. This is where Earl stayed. I've done 2 long retreats here. Okay. So Jetsun Randhawa went into retreat, significant retreat. And he realized how he was attracted to certain things that were preventing him from taking that leap. Next slide. Step 13. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, I have a razor. I'm gotta do this stupid thing. Okay. So Randhawa reached a point where he received the dengtop. He received the guarantee, just like a passport. My favorite country to go to, Japan. I got it, thank you. He got that guarantee that he's never going to have a lower rebirth again. He knew he had reached the goals. Like when Geshe Michael talks about 490 years to reach, the final goals. He's like, that's a dengtop, right? Like, just a couple more lifetimes, folks. Let's get that done, all right? Is that something that maybe you might want? All right? I want that guarantee. Step 14. I need my travel charger. Randhawa prepared to pass away to serve as an example to others, right? He lived his entire life in a way to be an example of how to die, okay? And it's not a depressing thing. Because once you receive that, the guarantee, death isn't something you're afraid of anymore, right? It's just the next transition to getting your new name, right? But all of us who don't have that guarantee, it's like there's a fear, there's a deep, deep fear around that. And it's debilitating at times, so much that we don't even want to think about it, right? But he set it aside to say, this is the example. I'm going to make the example of how to die well and how to do it with hope. Here's Sirius, right? Like, it's a hopeful thing. I got it. We're just going to go over. Next slide. Step 15 then is he passed on for his disciples. I need a sweatshirt too. How he passed on. The greatest teaching a teacher can ever give you is to teach you about their own impermanence. I'll say it again. The greatest teaching a teacher can ever give you is to teach you their own impermanence. The Buddha was not asked to stay, and he died. Geshe Michael appears to be getting older. His kidneys are failing. Please stay, please stay. But Randhawa left for his disciples so they can, be like, okay, you didn't get it the first time, then I'm going to show it to you. You want to see what impermanence really is? There it is. I'm leaving, right? And so when he did that, he also was suggesting, go back to the previous slide, please, that he had other work to do elsewhere. He needs to go somewhere else and help other students. Maybe he needed to go to Sirius. Okay? So he's doing multiple things at the same time. All right, next slide, number 16. And then the legacy. I need my postcards. Is that he built a legacy for his students. There's a story where he received a whole bunch of saffron and a bunch of gifts near the end of his life, that he sold it, then immediately published books, built retreat centers, did all the things for his students so that they could continue onwards. And you can see that Geshe Michael's doing this for us. We have a building in Sedona now that we own. We have a storage facility, we have property, we have all these 41 organizations. I know, just put it down. We have all of those things. And they've built this. He's building it for us, right? So when you look at these 16 steps, and I went through it really fast, Okay? How are you packing your suitcase? What are you putting in your suitcase tonight? You know, what are you going to put into your mind so that as you move forward, that you're going to be prepared for what's next? Because you can't take any of this stuff with you. This will get me around the world. I didn't bring out my underwear. I thought that was inappropriate. That would have been number 17. The secret item in my suitcase. You don't get to see my underwear. But you see, like, I can't take any of this stuff with me. The things that we're holding on to, we can't take with us, right? But what can we take? And Rendawa is giving us this example. Take the leisure and fortune of this life. You were given something, an amazing opportunity. And Rendawa has given us a path of what to do. So when you look through those 16 steps, what resonates most with you, right? We're at different stages of our life. Some of us are older, some of us are younger. But what are you doing right now to pack your suitcase? What are you putting in here? How are you serving others? Right? And if you and that's the place to go. Like, what did you do today to take care of somebody else? That's all. Like, all of this Diamond Way stuff, ooh, celebrating. They're celebrating Diamond Way. Okay? It's joyful. If you really, truly experience some of these things, you know that what's possible. And you can know where you're going, even if in just little bits. Okay? So thank you for joining.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much for this amazing class. It was very deep and nice. Please send gratitude appreciation, Team Lowenhaupt.
Go team!
Go team, go team, go team. Even Tim said that he didn't plan this life. We're happy you're all with us. Please stay and teach us. Thank you for everything.
请持续教授我们，感恩老师。
Thank you all very much. Have a great afternoon. And thank you. Thank you.
So, thank you so much for this class. We have some very important announcements for you. But before that, let's say goodbye for our online students. See you later, guys.
让我们先跟我们线上的伙伴说拜拜，感恩大家。